Hi guys, if you're a superhero film lover like I am, then you must be feeling just as spoilt with all the trailers, images, talk show appearances and just general news that have been coming out in the last week. We had Suicide Squad trailer the other day, we've had more Captain America footage, and now it's the turn of Doctor Strange featuring Benedict Cumberbatch. So let's take a look. Right, so the first few images we see are of a car accident. We see some smashed glass, quickly followed by an upside down Benedict Cumberbatch playing Doctor Strange. Then we see a partially submerged car, which we're assuming that he's inside as a result of a car accident. Now this actually forms part of his original origin story, so it's good to see they're doing that. Then we get a shot of him from behind. He appears to be in some kind of Asian country, and he's got some travelling pack, so it looks like this is during the time that he's wandering the world trying to find a cure for his broken hands, which we'll probably see in a minute. And our first close-up of him in his travelling state. Very unkempt hair, he's got the traditional Doctor Strange goatee there. It's a little bit rougher and not as trimmed as we generally know from the comics. This trailer has a lot of before and after shots comparing different scenes. We've just seen his face with the long hair and the goatee, and now we see what we're assuming is him just after the car accident that he had, wearing a hospital mask and very battered and bruised. Then we see Rachel McAdams' character. It's rumoured that she's going to be playing Night Nurse. We don't know for certain, but she's wearing hospital scrubs, and this could be a connection that Doctor Strange has to the hospital that he used to work in. Then we see Benedict Cumberbatch in attire that we're more used to seeing him in, a nice tuxedo. And as he puts his hand up to the glass of the window, it switches to an after the accident shot, where he's got unkempt hair and a beard, and looking a little bit forlorn. Then we see him washing his hands, presumably in the hospital, getting ready for some surgery. And then we see him in his full surgeon get-up. Quickly followed by another post-accident shot, where he's holding his hands up to someone to show maybe he's not armed. He looks to be in some kind of cage. Whether he's looking at someone through a wire mesh, we don't know, but he could have been held up by someone. Then another look back at just after the accident. We see for the first time his hands and arms are absolutely destroyed. He's got pins going all the way from his fingertips up to his elbows, and his face is very battered and bruised. Now this is the part of the trailer where things start to go a little bit strange. We get a glimpse of Chiwetel Ejiofor's character, Baron Mordo, walking down the street, and then another shot of an unkempt Doctor Strange walking down the street of presumably the same city. Here we get our first shot of the Ancient One being played by Tilda Swinton. It's a very quick shot, and she appears to be standing on some kind of seal in the middle of a temple. And this looks like the same temple, and Doctor Strange and Baron Mordo are crossing possibly the same seal, could be a different one, a different location in the temple, but they're crossing it together, which is interesting, suggesting that they're arriving at the temple at the same time. Now, a better look at Tilda Swinton as the Ancient One. Traditionally, this character is an Asian man, and Tilda Swinton is obviously neither of these. But she does look kind of like the character from the comics, so I'm not too displeased with this. Then we get a shot of the Ancient One doing some mystical kung fu on Doctor Strange himself, and this is where we get our first glimpse at one of his most famous skills, which is astral projection. It looks like she's punching his essence out of him to force him into doing some projection. And we see his reaction to this for the first time, and he's obviously very confused at being able to see himself and an astral projection of himself at the same time. Here we get our first glimpse at Mads Mikkelsen's character. We still don't know who he's playing, but we're assuming he's going to be the villain of the piece. He appears to be using some kind of magic to alter the reality of the room he's in, or the pathway he's walking down. Then we get a shot of what looks like Doctor Strange and the Ancient One standing on top of a mountain, presumably in the middle of some part of his training. And then followed by another shot of Mads Mikkelsen's character doing some crazy magic stuff with some followers nearby. And the interesting thing here is Mads Mikkelsen's eyes. I don't know what's going on with them. It looks like there's some kind of cracking or weird effect around them, but his followers have the same thing. So maybe they're suffering consequences of the magic they're wielding, or maybe it's a tattoo or something, I don't know. Then we get a closer look at Baron Mordo, Chiwetel Ejiofor's character, looking very suspicious at something. Then we get a shot of something that looks a little bit like a Vulcan mind meld. The Ancient One is pressing her hand on Doctor Strange's head, and then the reality seems to alter itself and he flies through the room backwards. Whether he's actually doing that or whether it's just in his mind, I don't know. Then we get a shot which looks like it might have been taken straight out of the Inception film, with different versions of the city moving around each other. And if you look very closely, you can see a small figure floating in the sky right in the middle of the screen. We don't know who this is. It could be Doctor Strange, it could be Baron Mordo, it could be Mads Mikkelsen's character, or it could be the Ancient One, although I doubt that she would come down from her temple. And then after witnessing some incredible things that the Ancient One has shown him, Doctor Strange is kneeling before her and asks her to teach him all these things. Whether she has already explained what the role of Sorcerer Supreme entails, I don't know. And whether he even knows about the Sorcerer Supreme at this point is unclear. But he's willing to learn what she can teach him. And here we get the Doctor Strange logo. It's interesting to see that the word Doctor is written out in full and not abbreviated, just to DR. And then the last shot of the trailer is Doctor Strange himself walking up some steps towards a large window, which we're assuming is part of his Sanctum Sanctorum, which is where his base of operations is. And we've seen this window in a recently released poster for the film as well. This could still be inside the temple where he's been learning the teachings of the Ancient One, but it's unclear at this point. But I do think it's his Sanctum Sanctorum. As trailers go, it's not fantastic, but then I think it's because we haven't actually seen much of what's going on. There's a lot of images in that trailer that we're unsure of what is actually happening. It looks like it's going to be his traditional origin story, going from surgeon to Sorcerer Supreme, but how that happens, other than the car accident that we can see in the trailer, we're not quite sure. Also, we don't know who the main villain is going to be. It's probably going to be Mads Mikkelsen's character, whoever that is, but Baron Mordo is there, being played by Chiwetel Ejiofor. So how is he going to come into play? Baron Mordo in the comics is generally his biggest enemy and just keeps cropping up and causing problems for him all the time. So it'll be interesting to see whether they're going to make him a villain in the first film or whether they'll leave that for later on, maybe a sequel or maybe in a crossover film later on. As always, let us know what you thought of the trailer in the comments below. Don't forget to give this video a like and click that subscribe button if you want to see more videos like this. And also check out our blog, jackandthegeekstalk.wordpress.com. The link is in the description below to the trailer, the blog, and stay tuned for the next trailer talk.